Hey guys, I am here because we couldn't go live on YouTube, so I decided to go live on Facebook instead. As you can see, I'm outside enjoying a beautiful day here where I live, and as you probably saw when you first come in, we're going to talk about Dumbo. Dumbo is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It's actually one of my number one favorite movies. I've got a lot of favorites. My husband can tell you, Horror Fanatic 78, he can tell you a whole bunch of reasons why I have so many different ones, but this is one of my favorites. It's actually one of my favorites that I saw when I was a little girl with my mom. It was actually one of the first Disney movies I actually saw, and I saw it with my mom, so this has a really I guess you could say memory of my mom. In the live action, Dumbo almost loses his mom, but in the cartoon, he doesn't lose his mom at all. His mom is basically set aside, and basically stating that she was an angry elephant, because all she wanted to do was protect this little guy. This is her baby, just like I was my mom's first, and I was her baby. Like, she really wanted to protect me as much as she could when she was here. And so when things happened, she couldn't protect she went out. She basically outraged against the other elephants, just protecting him, because as you can see here on this, he's got big ears. Well, same thing happens on the live action. Dumbo's mom, Mrs. Jumbo, as they call her, she basically tries to protect, baby Dumbo, aka baby Jumbo, because, you gotta basically keep the same name, but they named him Dumbo simply because he was dumb. He didn't know what to do. He basically had these big floppy ears, and they basically didn't know exactly what he could do. So they turn around and they basically give him clown faces and give him to the clowns, basically, is what they're doing in the cartoon. In the live action, they did the same thing. The only difference between that is that he did a bunch of different things, and he's trying to figure out what he could do. In the live action, they knew he could fly, because they kind of saw it at the beginning when he was born. But in this one, he couldn't find out that he could fly until probably, I'd say, middle ways of the movie. The little mouse here is a big part. In this cartoon, the little mouse helps Dumbo figure out who he is, what he can do, and so the little mouse tells the ringleader that Dumbo should be his big show, his number one show that would get everybody to come to the circus. And basically, Dumbo becomes a superstar, I guess you could say. And in the live action, there's no mouse. It's a human being helping Dumbo understand who he is and what he does. And so in the live action, it goes a little bit off course from what the cartoon says, but at the same time, it goes a little bit on course when it comes to all the small details. As you know, the live action is directed by Tim Burton. Great director, great movie. He didn't make it all seem scary, because all of his films, or the movies that he's also produced, were kind of like dark and kind of scary in a way, I guess you could say. But in my particular way, Dumbo, the live action, was not dark. I mean, it had dark moments, and the movie was dark, but not all of it was dark. It was like, it had wonderful HD pictures of color and everything. So my thoughts on both of them. The cartoon, like I said, my number one movie that I watched when I was a little girl with my mom. My very first Disney movie I've ever seen. As to Dumbo, the live action, I got to see it with my dad. And it was actually pretty darn nice to see it with my dad. It brought a lot of memories. Yes, I did cry throughout the whole movie. Would I give a 5 out of 5 on the live action? No, there were some things that were not right. Yes, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, if you have yet to see either one, Dumbo does get to be with his mom, no matter what. He goes through all kinds of, in the live action, he goes through all kinds of things to get to his mom. Like, his mom was taken away from me at the circus because the ringleader, who's Danny DeVito, great actor, basically said, hey, I can't have the elephant. This elephant is mean to my other elephants and this and that. And he basically tried to sell both Baby Jumbo and Mrs. Jumbo, aka Dumbo, the baby elephant, back to who he got it from. But at the end, he sold his mother instead of keeping the baby, trying to get all this. And so in the live action, everything kind of turned a twist in the movie because the ringleader of the small little circus, they didn't have enough money to do what they needed to do, and the kid who was basically taking the mouse's place from the cartoon, there is a storyline there. I don't want to spoil too much with that, but the kids basically help Dumbo, like I said, try to find out what his certain, priority is for the circus, and so on in the movie. Their dad, it was like a big person, like huge, before he went off to the war, and when he came back, he found out that his wife died, and that he can't be in doing his acts that he and his wife did. So that's when Danny DeVito, who is the ringleader, decided to go and find out what all he can do, and he decided to give him the direction of being with the elephants. Okay, and in that, he's like, okay, I don't want to do this, but if you want me to, I'll do it. So he was basically with the elephants. He was there when Dumbo was born. He was all there and everything. And later in the movie, the kids and him helped Dumbo learn how to fly, because the kids found out, he can't, with a feather and everything, he can literally fly. So, but in the cartoon, how he finds out that he can fly was, I think it was the whole point when Dumbo was with, now this is going to get kind of racist in the cartoon because it does turn racist. There's 3 crows that basically tell him that he can't do things, he can't do this. But when the little mouse is like, hey now, wait a second, he can do a whole lot. Let's give him a try. And that's when Dumbo started learning how to fly, and that's when the mouse, I can't remember what the mouse's name is, but it's there. He basically helped him have this little feather. And in both movies, the feather is a big thing for Dumbo to know how to fly. And later in the live action, he loses the feather, and he's like, Dumbo's like, I can't fly. I can't do it without the feather. And then he realizes that he can fly because he wanted to be with his mom. And he slowly went to his mom and found out where she was in the same circus. By the way, there is another big giant circus, but it's like, I don't know if you would call it a circus. My way, I wouldn't call it a circus. I would call it a theme park, because it was many different places that you can go. It was called Circus Dreamland or something like that in the live action. And basically, Dumbo was, I guess you could say, sold off to him, but still under Danny DeVito's character, his ringleader. And so they go into that, and apparently the big shot of this new place where Dumbo's now going to be, he basically goes and tells him, hey, I want your elephant to be the main big story, the main big event or whatever. And everything was A-okay, going well, and then all of a sudden Dumbo made his sound, his mother made a sound, and Dumbo basically found out that his mom was there at the same place. So in the live action, everybody tries to get Mrs. Jumbo, but at the same time, spoiler alert again, they try to send her off to the slaughterhouse, which everybody that was in the small little circus went and saved Mother Jumbo, and Dumbo was in the big event tent or whatever, and he did his flying. He flied out of the big huge tent. There was a lot going on. There was fires going on. Yes, there is a big huge fire in the movie. And this one, there really isn't. Like I said, towards the end of this movie, he's in his mom, Mrs. Jumbo, is in a personal little train. But in the live action, they didn't do that. In the live action, after they saved Mrs. Jumbo, and Dumbo was able to save the kids and save everybody from this big, huge, terrible villain guy, he basically went on and helped figure out what to do with Miss Jumbo. Well, like I said, they basically took everybody in the small circus, like I said, basically took Mrs. Jumbo out of wherever she was at and basically saved them. As soon as Dumbo was done doing what he had to do with the kids, saving them and saving the dad with the kids, Dumbo was able to hop into the truck where Mrs. Jumbo was at, where they basically got Mrs. Jumbo out and saved before she went to the slaughterhouse. So after that, after that, Mrs. Jumbo and Dumbo, Little Jumbo, aka Mr. Dumbo, they went to the jungle. They freed him. They didn't keep him in captivity or anything because they belonged together. And so, like I said, at the end of the movie, they were able to be together in both of them. And then, again, spoiler, they go to the jungle, and Dumbo basically shows his mom that he can fly. He can fly everywhere. And they get to go into the jungle, and they go and find the herd of elephants where Mrs. Jumbo was, I guess, before she was captured, was at. And Dumbo goes down and flies down and greets all the other elephants. And it was actually really cool. And I think that was like one of the best parts of the movie, I believe. Like I said, I cried in between both movies. I would have to give this movie a 5 out of 5. But in the live action, I would have to give it a 4.5. Simply because there was some things that were not right, and there were some things that were. Like, okay, why couldn't they show more of Dumbo's story than the kids' story? They kind of like went back and forth when they needed to pick either the story of how the kids could help Dumbo more instead of showing them that they couldn't. There were some flaws in the movie that could have been more better in a way, but overall, that's my score. That's what I thought. 5 out of 5 for the cartoon, but 4.5 for the live action. And overall, the movies are great. If you have kids, they would love it. Trust me, they would love these movies. If Dumbo would have a special meaning like it did with me, it's better to see it with your parents if you can. If not, you can see it by yourself. But I love Dumbo. It's one of my favorites, like I said, and hopefully you guys can go see it. It's still in theaters, as I know, and as I can tell, it's going to be out of theaters very soon. So go and see it. Hopefully my review would help you guys out. I'm going to be uploading this onto YouTube. So in this case, if you can, subscribe down below and hit that bell to be notified. On Facebook, like this video if you liked it, and give it a thumbs up. And anyway, I'm Felina. I'm the movie fanatic, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next video. And there are some videos that are going to be coming soon. I might be doing more live streams instead of videos, but hopefully in the future it might be both. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, and there is going to be a new channel going up. It's going to be a vlog channel of Horror Fanatics 78 and my life. But I will definitely, hopefully, maybe put something out there stating of what it is. But we haven't put anything up, so don't yet subscribe until we put something up. But until then, have a great and wonderful time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.